episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations easily stands toe-to-toe with some of the best episodes from the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden anime series. This was a fantastic episode and a great conclusion to the Hidden Mist arc. We got our final battle with Shizuma Hoshigaki, and he totally lives up to all of the hype that was the original character, Kisame, as not only does he finally start to wield the Samehada blade, we even get to see some new techniques from it, and of course, he is able to combine with the sword and transform into a half-man, half-shark hybrid, which leads to one of the coolest scenes from the entire series. And that's not even talking about the amazingly epic team-up battle with Boruto and Mitsuki fighting against Shizuma using the Samehada blade. This episode was awesome. Hands down. I actually thought that they were going to build it up just a little bit more. I thought that this episode was going to be dedicated all to Boruto versus Kagura. And thankfully, they got that wrapped up within like the first 4 to 5 minutes of the episode. And admittedly, it wasn't as exciting as the stuff we saw before, and it's very typical of what we've seen from the Naruto series before it. The main character is talking down the villain, letting him know that everything he's been doing is wrong. That, and of course, we get to learn the big truth that apparently Shizuma has been working behind the shadows and planning a huge coup d'etat and even taking out a few people in the process, which definitely goes against his philosophy of trying to make everything in the world truthful. It's not too dissimilar from the philosophy of Kisame, and it's great to see that it's been instilled in this villain right here, and of course, he's about to bring the thunder in an incredibly epic action scene. So, this is when Mitsuki decides to jump in, and any single time Mitsuki's involved, you know something really awesome is about to happen. And I've always sort of painted Mitsuki as this near unstoppable ninja, the incredible prodigy that no one really even knows exists quite yet. But I do like that they actually show some weaknesses of his character in this episode, and that's because Shizuma is a surprisingly powerful opponent. Just the fact that he's able to wield the Samehada should be a clue to how powerful he is in the first place, because you do have to have a tremendous amount of chakra in order to wield this weapon. And at first he uses the sword in just the most standard form possible, like just a giant freaking club. It's still wrapped up, just smacking around, swinging around, dodging all of Boruto and Mitsuki's attack, and all the choreography here looks awesome. I absolutely love it. I especially love that you also have a technique which is utilized where he actually takes a little bit of his blood and puts it on the blade itself, which creates all of this blood red mist. And every single time the characters get hurt and they have a wound, their chakra actually gets absorbed from that wound. That combined with the Samehada constantly allows him to keep refueling his chakra. And he even is able to utilize some water techniques which look really awesome, like using these water blades. And there's a scene where Mitsuki's dodging all of them and just swinging his body around in all of these crazy acrobatic ways. And he eventually gets caught, and then freaking here he comes right down with a big sword. Boom! It's just explosive and freaking awesome. And then we finally get to see the sword come out of the wrappings. This is when the episode really started to begin. So, as everyone already knows who's been watching the Naruto Shippuden anime series, Samehada is a living blade. We got to see it a number of times in the original series when it was used by Kisame and by Killer Bee. And I like that we got to see a little bit more of its abilities in this episode. The fact that not only is it a sword, but it can use as a massive spiked flail. I love that he throws it around like a whip and you get to see it just running across this bloody background and everything, chasing after Boruto and Mitsuki. It just looks so freaking cool. The scene where Mitsuki is actually about to attack him and the blade actually explodes from the wrappings and starts to attack him is also just a really great moment. That and just he's able to use the sword just as good as Kisame, which is very surprising, although he's still not as powerful as Kisame and still doesn't even have full control over the blade, as eventually Boruto is able to finish him off with a really cool brand new technique that we've never seen before, where he creates a couple of clones and then Mitsuki actually tricks the sword and stops it so that Boruto can utilize this wind style technique where he uses 2 clones to push another 2 clones forward, and then one of those clones uses another wind style technique to push the other one further to increase the attack, and basically he just gets right in front of Shizuma, moving at these incredible high speeds, hits him with a force palm, which sends him flying into a giant rock, Dragon Ball Z style. It was awesome. And they could have ended the episode there, and I would have still given this episode a 5 out of 5. But they went the extra mile. we got to see that not only was Shizuma not defeated, but he suddenly starts to get eaten and absorbed by the Samehada blade and losing control over it, and he becomes a half-man, half-shark, just like Kisame. The only difference is he's not as large, he's not like spitting water out all over the place, and he also doesn't seem to have control over his abilities. So basically, he's a mad great white shark man. And then we finally get to see him fighting against them. Chojuro shows up, and Chojuro decides that he's going to use his blade to defeat him. But that's when Kagura decides to step up to the plate, and we get a surprise battle in the episode, which is Kagura fighting against Sharkman Shizuma. And, of course, it's awesome. It all looks really, really cool. I especially love the choreography that Shizuma uses. He's like a shark man, so he's just jumping around and flipping and using his, like, shark claws and feet and being able to move all animalistic-like. That combined with the sword choreography just looks crispy, man. Really, really great stuff. And then the part of the episode that gave me the biggest chills. The moment that made me love this arc was that when Kagura's getting ready to finish him off, he can't do it alone, and that's when Boruto decides to come in. He takes one half of his sword, they separate, they're powered up with chakra, and they attack at the same time. And in that moment, that split second right before the attack, you can see Boruto's eye transform into that weird eye that we keep seeing in the series. And they finish him off, they separate the blade from him, and that's the end of the episode. Hidden Mist Village is saved. We don't even really get like a proper conclusion after this. It's really just, that's it, that's the end, they make it back for roll call, see you in next week's episode, which is all about Himawari not getting a souvenir and crying about it. Nowhere near as exciting as watching a weird ninja man turn into a giant shark beast. So, what's the rundown on this episode right here? The animation is what makes this episode, and the overall setting and aesthetic of the entire battle. There's never been a fight like this in the series, like with all of like the bloody mist all around them. It's a much cooler looking aesthetic than the standard mist that we've seen for the last couple of episodes, which frankly I was getting sick of seeing. I don't know what it was. The fact that you can't see more of the detail and more of the motion through all of this like gray, muddy looking mist, when they finally turned it to red, everything started to pop. And it also was a great visual cue to show that stuff is about to get real. And it certainly did. Shizuma was really awesome in this episode. I was sort of waiting for that moment where we finally get to see Samehada come out, and it paid off, and it looked really cool, and we got to see a lot of like its classic techniques, as well as a lot of new ones, which I really loved. Boruto and Mitsuki teaming up was great. Boruto's new technique was also fantastic. I love how little by little they show him getting more used to using these different chakra-style natures and more proficient at it. It's just really fun to watch and great to see his growth. And it's amazing to see that all of these events are taking place before they even graduate from the academy. These guys don't even have their headbands yet, and they're already getting involved with these crazy adventures that no one could possibly imagine. I mean, to put it in perspective, in the original Naruto series, the very first arc of the series was Naruto and his entire team going up against Zabuza, a member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist. Here we have something that's very similar going on. The only difference is Boruto being a little bit younger, being an academy student, and going toe-to-toe with a guy who's using the most powerful blade of the entire Ninja 7 swordsmen. It's insane, and it's really awesome. If Shizuma were a little older and a little more experienced, he probably would have tore these kids up. But the fact of the matter is, he's only like 5 years older than Mitsuki and Boruto, so really they were kind of on even terms. I'm willing to accept it for what it is. An awesome, really cool, slick-styled anime episode with some fantastic action. It satisfied me, and it made me appreciate this arc all the little bit more. I especially love how the characters are getting growth, and we're getting to know them a little bit more than in the manga version. That's the best thing about the Boruto anime. It's building up the characters, we're getting some new material out of it, we're getting the material that we know we want to see, and even the new stuff, like this battle right here. Like I said, one of the coolest fights from the entire series as far as I'm concerned. So, I loved this episode. 5 out of 5 from me. I'm very satisfied. If only thing I wanted to learn a little bit more about Shizuma's like connection to Kisame, like how are they related? Are they cousins? Are they brothers? Is he his son? I know they're from the same clan, but I wanted to learn a little bit more. And maybe just a little bit more of an epilogue with Kagura as well. Maybe like a goodbye to the Hidden Mist Village. Maybe we'll get that in the beginning of the next episode. We'll just have to wait and see. What I will say is this was a great wrap-up to a surprisingly fun arc, which if you were getting bored of, don't worry, it ends very quickly, and it ends with a really awesome fight. So 5 out of 5 from me. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about this episode in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the next big arc of the Boruto anime series. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn, baby.